Hello, all Inderes TV listeners and viewers. Anora recruited their Q1 this morning, and we have here for interview the fresh CEO Kirsi Puntila and CFO Stein Eriksen. Welcome.
Thank you.
So, Kirsi, let's start with you. Your new face now. Inderes TV, a long time in Anora, but please introduce yourself.
Yeah, I think I would like to be considered young and vibrant, but one could probably say that I'm an industry veteran even. I've been in the industry for 20 plus years and in this company for 11 years. So quite a long experience in that respect. And my professional background is in brand marketing, innovation and product development, and I've held several commercial roles, which I hope is a good background in managing a house of Nordic brands.
Yeah, and your latest position was in the head of spirits.
Exactly, Senior Vice President for Spirits, yes, indeed.
Good. And then, of course, now started as a CEO. You have been 2 months in the role. Can you say any first impressions? Of course, you know a lot of the company before, but any kind of new perspectives from the CEO position or anything you can share at this point where you would start to kind of steering the company?
Yeah, I don't know if I was ever given that luxury of 100 days of a honeymoon being an inside CEO, but I've said that internally that I will take a liberty of pausing before speeding and using a little bit of time first to analyze and look at certain elements of the company. Because even though I've been an insider, and I have to say that I maybe see the world a little bit more positively looking at from inside than maybe sometimes when we look at the company from the outside. I think this company is an excellent workplace with strong brands and very dedicated, engaged people. So I think the future is hopeful and positive. But at the same time, I'm sober, and we in the management team, we are sober about some of the sort of our past, and maybe even some of the mistakes that have been made along the way. So in the short run, I can only say that we are first and foremost focusing on that profitability journey, what we have been communicating externally as well, which is with the strong mix and price management, overall mix management, as well as the pricing. And secondly, we still want to continue further strengthening our cash position and balance sheet. And finally, we do want to seek for a longer term growth and revenue growth as well in both of the wines and spirits. The market is obviously very challenged at the moment, but still already now Anora has most of its business coming from outside of the monopoly markets, and we are investing in the new channels and new markets, which we hope will result in a better future.
Okay. But we might hear some more of your thoughts then later in the year, or
I'm sure you will hear a lot from it in future.
Good. Then let's jump into Q1. Ladies, Stein could take this. What were the key points of the Q1?
Yeah, key points of Q1. Well, if we start, I mean, Q1, as you know, is a very small quarter for Anora, normally contributing between 10 to 15% of the yearly profitability, so very small quarter. That being said, I mean, the markets in Q1, all the Nordic markets were pretty weak. I think we reported in our report that it was down with more than 8% decline. Parts of it definitely related to negative Easter effect or timing of Easter. If you move into the P&L of Anora, just starting then with the top line, we had a decline of 3.8%, and all segments were down. But once again, we need to take into consideration the negative or the timing of Easter. That being said, we are very happy to see, especially within the wine segment, that we grew market share in 3 out of 4 markets. So very happy to see that development. Another thing I'm very happy to see is the strong underlying improvement in gross margin. We increased the gross margin with 280 basis points. due to, Kirsi already mentioned it, stabilized input costs, good revenue management. But I would also like to highlight a strong operational performance within our industrial segment. Also bear in mind that we had a one-off gain or sale of some assets at the Rajamäki, also explaining parts of that margin increase, but still very strong underlying margin increase. OPEX was fairly flat in line with last year, but we had some higher A&P spend, especially in the wine segment, and supporting some of the growth initiatives. And EBITDA ending somewhat below last year, 0.9 million euros. Wine down, partly due to Easter effects and higher A&P spend, while we had growth both for industrial and spirits, both related to OPEX reductions and higher gross margin. Yeah.
Yeah. And what was the performance kind of in line with your plans given the Easter impact? Or
Yeah, I would say it was in line with our internal ambitions. Yes.
And do you have any kind of more quantification of the Easter impact? Obviously,
It's
impacting now a lot. Do you have any
Yes.
kind of maybe share from April?
Yeah, it's a
already,
good
or-
question, Rauli. What we can say, I mean, the beverage segment was down with 5.5 million euros. Roughly half of that was related to Easter effects, according to our calculations, but of course more hitting the spirit segment than the wine segment. Looking at the market development now in April, we definitely see that there's a bounce back in at least two other markets where I have obtained the market figures, but we definitely see a bounce back now in April, but a little bit different between the different markets.
Yeah, and as we've said, I think it is true that, I mean, the Q1 is always small, and if the Easter falls on April, then it's even smaller. And I mean, especially with the categories that we have with the spirits, I think aquavits are mostly consumed on the Easter dinner tables. So if that sales is out, then it makes it much smaller.
Yeah. And what other factors are can kind of pull it sales down if Easter was only a part?
Well, we also experienced lower sales of side products within the industrial segment. That's starch and animal feed. That's some side products of the industrial chain. Yes.
Then maybe Kirsi, how do you see that generally all the economic uncertainty? Obviously not so much here more on the US side, but still quite a bit of confusion. So have you seen any impact to that to your
least.
Yeah. Have you seen any impact from that to your business? I know you are importing some stuff.
We're importing, we're exporting. I don't think we are any more immune to the changes than anyone else in the industry or any other industry for that matter. So obviously that uncertainty is something that is not nice for any of the companies. But in all honesty, I mean, the impact for Anora is not material. I mean, as far as our exports are concerned, we only export our aquavits to the US. So I guess the loyal aquavit lovers will still continue drinking our products, I would hope. And the impact there is around 1 million euros, so not really material. But when it comes to indirect impact and then a procurement exposure, that is a little bit higher, so it's about 30 million. But what we do see in the Nordics as well is it's a little bit of consumers going away from the American wines and spirits. You see that in the monopolies because they are very visibly under the American flag or under American. So I think consumers are reacting with their feet, but not a significant impact for our products so far.
Good. Then turning on the outlook, like I said, Q1 is quite small and then kind of messed up a bit with this Easter, so quite expected to your full year of your guidance is unchanged for the earnings, and you had kind of assumed there that the market volumes would be flat, I guess, even kind of taking into account Easter, the beginning of the year was a bit soft. So how do you see the kind of current market situation compared to those expectations?
No, it's like we said. Also, Kirsi, I think said it very nicely in the call. We still keep our volume expectations for the full year, and at least a couple of the markets where I got market figures now, that you start to see that it starts to level out, the both in volume but especially then in value. But that being said, of course, we have also other tools in our toolbox in case we need it. That's everything from margins to costs.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier that you are expected to grow more than the market, and we saw some of that in Q1. So can you say something about what those measures continue, accelerate?
No, absolutely. I think what was very much a key element of Q1 was, of course, the sort of phasing of the marketing investment for the wines, for example. So I think we are already now seeing a turnaround of the market shares in two of the biggest wine markets, which are Sweden and Denmark. And I guess that gives us confidence that we are doing right things. And I mean, that very often is the nature of the marketing investments, that it takes a while before you start seeing the impact. And in wines, especially in Sweden, the impact is a bit, I mean, the period is shorter. So the more you invest, then the quicker you get the payback. So I think we of course, we absolutely expect that development to continue.
Great. Thank you for the interview, Kirsi and Stein.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.